All right, peace and love, everyone. Welcome back to the Healing Cypher. I am your host, Queen Tamar, and this is a special announcement for those of you who have been watching the Healing Cypher show on Plugged In Radio and TV with King Ide and I. We are now on my YouTube channel going forward. So starting today, this is the first official episode of the Healing Cypher show, which will be on YouTube from now on. We are still working diligently to bring you informative, amazing content to help you with your health and wellness goals and your health journeys. King Ade is taking a brief hiatus right now, and he will join us at a later date. But I am still here and I'm still ready to serve you. So tonight we are going to be discussing the healing power of herbs and plants in general. Um, Mainly because there is still a lot of information out there about plants and herbs and their plethora of benefits. And many people still feel a sense of distrust when you mention herbal medicine or they're skeptic of the effectiveness. So tonight we're going to speak in detail about how herbs can help us heal in so many ways. Waiting on a guest, but in the meantime, we're going to just keep it moving forward. So I hope everybody out there is doing well, surrounded by love, peace, and happiness, and good health. So tonight we're going to talk about the healing power of herbs because some people still are in the dark about how herbs work and just their many benefits because I hear so many negative things about them. That kind of medicine only works on you temporarily. Some other people say, well, that was ancient or archaic medicine. We need modern medicine now. Some people believe that herbs are not as effective as some other alternative medicines, specifically prescription drugs. Some people feel that I've heard people say, well, they don't work as fast, or they don't have long-term benefits. Some people think that they're not safe to use because they've heard, stories or situations of people having reactions and things like that. But there are people who have reactions to many different things, and um, but for some reason people have this mistrust when it comes to plant medicine. And then there's some people that think that plant medicine is just limited to psychedelic medicine, or plants that have DMT, or that is used in ceremony to go on spiritual trips and journeys. However, herbs are all around us and we use them and benefit from them all the time, whether we are aware of it or not, because herbs come in the form of leaves from plants, tree bark, ground roots, as well as the stems of plants, the flowers of plants. Nearly every part of some plants can be used for medicine. Then you have some plants, it's only the leaves or only the roots that's beneficial. And then other plants, all parts can be used. So herbs are plants that have medicinal purposes, and they've been used for thousands of years, probably since the beginning of time. People have used herbal medicine in some form, whether it was to make teas or poultices, or to extract the oils and the flower essence from it, which would be essential oils and flower essences. All of those things come from plants. And whether we use plant-based medicine or not, or acknowledge it, we use plants all the time, even in, like I said, in the form of essential oils or plant essences. Flowers, people give people flowers to cheer them up on special occasions. Well, some of those flowers actually have healing and medicinal purposes. So smelling the aroma of them helps you to feel better, helps you to feel more happy, more joyful. Plants, house plants, some of those are herbs, and they can be used to clean the air, clean and purify the air in your home, also improve the breathing And plants give off hormones and scents that help liven your mood and help you feel better as well as breathe better. And we get so much from plants, even trees. Trees are the world's largest plants, and trees give us so much as well in the form of shade, providing stability to the soil, and we get a lot of things from trees. A lot of the fruits that we eat come from trees. A lot of other plants, medicinal plants come from trees. The Amazon rainforest, which is often called the lungs of the world, is full of multiple species of plants. There's so much biodiversity there when it comes to plants, and a lot of those plants are only um, native to that area, and they're very beneficial. For example, camel is a fruit that grows in the Amazon um, rainforest, and this fruit is very high in vitamin C. So are acai berries, and they're antioxidant rich. And so some of these plants that grow in the rainforest and just indigenous to that area have really high medicinal benefits and high mineral content, and they're nutrient dense, making them superfoods. So all of these things are beneficial to us, and these are things that we get from our herbs and plants. Herbs are one of the oldest uses for plants. If you go back in time and study the ways of our ancestors, they use herbs for medicine. Yes, some herbs can be used for seasoning. That's what we would call spices, but medicinal use is one of the oldest uses of plants. They knew which plants to harvest when to use them. Like there's certain plants that you use at night, certain plants that you use during pregnancy, certain ones you use during postpartum, which ones to use for a headache, which ones were poisonous, which ones were not, which ones were better boiled versus steeping or steaming. They had an extensive knowledge of this, and you can study any culture, especially indigenous and ancient cultures, and you'll see that they use an array of plant-based medicines to cure many ailments. The medicine people, the shamans, the healers of all kinds use herbs for some of their healing modalities, for internal and external use, and also for spiritual use, because plants, like humans and the animals, plants are living beings and entities, and they have a physical side as well as a spiritual, just like we do. So, and they have emotional healing benefits. So some of them studied this knowledge for decades, and this wisdom was passed down sometime generation to generation, from mother to child, or the grandparents, whoever in the family. And also it was something that was studied in um, like classroom settings, high priests and priestesses and their initiates, sometimes, or the shaman and their initiates, sometimes they would teach them this knowledge, because it was very, very important to know this, because this was one of their ultimate sources of medicine, coming from plants. And in fact, in some cultures today, if you go to the pharmacy or to see a doctor, in some other cultures, particularly like the Ayurvedic tradition, and traditional Chinese and some others, they will give you something that's herb based, something that's plant based. I've been to a Ayurvedic doctor before. I used to see one on a regular when he was in this area, and after having a consultation with him, he would give me a prescription, and the prescription was herbs, some different herbal formulas that he put together. And this is what some other master herbalists were known to do, like Dr. Laila Africa, who was also one of my teachers, Dr. Sabi, some others. I can't remember all of them right now, so forgive me. But the Ayurvedic doctor that I used to see, his name was Dr. Dubey. But the doctors who practiced these ancient healing systems and modalities, they will give you herbs and in addition to other things like telling you what type of water to drink, what type of exercises, or what spiritual practice in addition, and things to boost your immune system with your emotions and your mental health as well. But when it comes to fortifying and strengthening the body, they're going to tell you, they're going to give you some herbal formulas and medicines. Okay. And that's why it's called a formula, because it's something put together that works synergistically with your body to help you to heal. People grew medicinal purposes, and they also used to hunt and gather them. Some people do a lot of foraging for their herbs, or people grew them, and they always kept them around for illnesses. Some indigenous people carried little medicine pouches that had herbs in them, um, that they needed for emergencies or to boost their immunity, or also for magical purposes or protection. Sometimes they carried medicine on them for those reasons as well. Um, Decades ago, unfortunately, many of us got away from plant-based medicines for healing and started using other things. And one of the reasons we got away from it is because the mainstream started pushing something different, and they started calling this ancient medicine or herbal medicine quackery, or they labeled it, old, outdated. There was in some countries there was a suppression of natural medicine. The healers were persecuted and or killed in some instances. Ancient healing practices were no longer allowed. In some places they were made illegal, and so a lot of this information was lost to us. And then the displacement that many of our people have experienced, especially here in the Americas, families being separated, that lost generation where people were sent away to boarding schools, families um, were separated, and the old way of living was separated and abandoned for a new modern way of living. And people moved away from relying on the land and living off the land, and that connection to nature and the herbs and the plants and things. And a lot of that was lost. And so years ago, I know when I was growing up, I was raised by an elderly grandmother. You know, she knew some knowledge of herbal medicine, and there was always an older person in the town that knew this. When I was living in Richmond for a while. There was a lady named Aunt Hattie. That's what everybody called her. And she was a master herbalist. She grew and always had herbs, and you could go and see her and make an appointment. And she tell her what ailments you had, and she would make a formula for you, give it to you, and tell you how to use it. And there was always someone in our communities that had that knowledge in the past. And so as we moved away from um, agriculture, agriculture based communities, and moved more into urban areas, and a lot of us lost that knowledge. But now it's making a revival, thank goodness. Since the 90s, there's been a great movement back towards, or I should say around towards natural medicine and natural healing again. In the 90s, that's when everybody started, like the natural hair revolution. People started wearing their hair natural. Um, a lot of natural healing modalities made a resurface. A lot of women were starting to breastfeed again, have home births, water births. It was just like a revival. And now that we're in the millennium, these years too, is gaining in popularity with the conscious community, or the plant-based, or the vegan community, or whatever. A lot of people are moving back towards and returning to this knowledge. So it's not new age. It's called new age, wisdom or knowledge, but it's really old age because this is something that is really ancient. It's something that is making a revival, and it's something that we really should be aware of. That there's some things in your yard, might be in your yard, in your house, growing around you that is beneficial. For example, I'm in the DMV area, and in DC, there are a lot of ginkgo trees. They have beautiful yellow leaves in the fall. They're fan shaped, and the ginkgo biloba tree, those leaves are a medicine. They can be used for making it into a tea or a tincture. Um, and they're good for circulation to the brain as well as some other things. And many of us have yards, and you may see plantain leaves growing in your yard. That's good for insect bites. Um, a lot of us have mint growing in our yards, just growing naturally. And a lot of things that people call weeds are actually not weeds, they're plants. I mean, they're herbs. They can be used for some medicinal purposes. If you go for a walk in the woods or the park near you, you'll be surprised at the number of herbal plants that you will see. You'll see things like mandrake, um, dead nettle. You may find mullein. I see mullein growing a lot, especially on the side of the road. You may see other herbs growing wild that can be used for medicine. Be careful though when you're picking things in the wild, especially on the sides of roads, because sometimes they may have been sprayed by something. Um, the Department of Transportation may have sprayed it, or it may have other, contaminants on it. But it's best to grow your own, or to get them from a reputable source, because that way you know that if they're pesticide free or they're safe. Um, Plant-based nutrition is very important, and a lot of the plants that we eat have medicinal properties and are herbs too. For example, things like garlic, basil, oregano, mint, thyme. Those herbs have benefits to our physical health as well as our nutritional health. So a lot of the foods that we eat, especially the things that are used to season and flavor our foods, a lot of those are herbs. And we want a healthy diet. Our diet is how we eat, which affects all aspects of our lives. So it's very important what we put into our bodies. That's our source of fuel. That's our source of um, just nutrition for everything, for our mind, our body, our spirit. It's so much more than what we just eat. It's how often we eat and what we're eating. We study a lot of things in school, but one is the connection between nutrition and health is often overlooked. I wasn't taught that in school. I didn't learn those things until I got older. They did talk to us a little bit about the food pyramid, but they didn't really tell us what foods benefit what and how. So plant-based nutrition is important for our health and for our wellness and for the wellness of the planet as well. All right, so let's talk about superfoods. Superfoods are foods, plants that are nutrient dense. They're high in antioxidants, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes. A lot of them are very nutrient dense. That's why they're termed superfoods. And um, some of them make great supplements to the diet as well as can be used for other purposes. And it's interesting that a lot of the things that we call superfoods are all plant based. Things like spinach and pomegranates, um, basil. What's another superfood? Moringa. All of these things are plants, and they are herbs, and they can be used for multiple purposes. Herbs can also be used to make things like essential oils, which are highly concentrated chemical compounds of plants. So essential oils have many different properties. Not only are they great for aromatherapy, but that you can use them for disinfecting. You can also use them in skin and hair care products, use them for fragrance, use them for in food flavors, the food based ones. They're great for things like lifting your mood and aroma, aromatherapy. I have aroma lamp that I use during meditation or just for relaxation, depends on what kind of mood I'm in, and I'll put a few drops of essential oil in it. If I feel like I need to pick me up, it'll be maybe some lemongrass or clove. If I just want to relax, it might be just frankincense essential oil. And skin and hair care products, a lot of the natural products that we use have essential oils in them. Read the labels, you'll see it. And even some of the products that are not so natural, a lot of them have essential oils in them, oils of rosemary, um, henna, argan oil, some of those things that can be used to benefit, and stimulate hair growth, have a healthy hair and scalp, shiny hair. A lot of products have natural ingredients in them, along with other things, or purely natural ingredients, because this is what people have been using for thousands of years. For example, henna, not only do people use it to color their hair, but it's also a great conditioner. It moisturizes hair. They say is good for treating certain ailments of the scalp. So when you live thousands of years clean, to paint their hands and feet, but they also use it in on their hair. And many hair products, if you go to the beauty supply store, have henna extract. You'll read the ingredients, you'll see that. Um, Herbs are a basis for a lot of the products that we use hidden in plain sight. For example, a lot of us chew gum, spearmint gum. What do you think spearmint is? Spearmint is a mint. Spearmint, peppermint, they're all mints, mint family, and that is a herb that can freshen your breath as well as kill some harmful bacteria in your mouth. Another is Vicks Vapor Rub. I remember growing up, every household had Vicks Vapor Rub, and people act like it was a cure all for everything. But Vicks Vapor Rub, grandma or whoever would use it and tell you to put some on your chest. If you had a cold, they might put on a cotton ball near your nose or something like that. But it has essential oils in it, oil of eucalyptus, camphor, things like that. Those things are expectorants, which is good for expelling mucus in your respiratory system. Um, Things like pine sol had extract of pine. You can actually use pine needles as a disinfectant, if you made your own extract with it. Um, a lot of cleansers, like for the kitchen or the house, will say, lemon scent. And the lemon we know can kill bacteria. Lemon can be used to disinfect. You can make your own lemon based oil or cleanser as well. um, all of these things have useful benefits. Aloe vera, that's something else that a lot of skin and hair care products and food products have aloe in it. And aloe is a common household plant you see in a lot of people's houses, or growing in their yards. And aloe can be used as an herb. It has many different benefits. It's great for your digestive system. It can help kill parasites. It can detox the liver. It can be applied to your skin to soothe different type of skin rashes, and to soothe insect bites. Just many uses for it. And with all of that said, any questions so far? We don't have any questions tonight in the chat, and I hope people those of you who follow me on Instagram, I make announcements on the Instagram channel at Healing Cypher Show, at the Healing Cypher Show, and on my other page at Astro Healing Arts to let you know about upcoming events. So going forward, since we have no questions this evening, going forward, the Healing Cypher Show will be here on my channel Mondays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm still doing my other lives on Wednesdays, which is Ask the Herbalist Hour. If you have any questions about health and wellness and spirituality, that's a great time to ask questions. I look forward to seeing you all every week here at the Healing Cypher. We intend to have, guests hopefully every week. And if you have questions about topics that you want me to address or to questions you want answered, you can feel free to ask in the live chat, or you can send me an email at astrohealingarts@yahoo.com, and I do my best to answer it live and on your email, just because someone else may have the same question. So with that said, tonight, thank you everyone for joining me. Peace and love to each and every one of you. I hope to see you next week, same time. Peace and love.